this video I want to take a look at self-build houses and stage payment mortgages. So where I am here in Enfield in County Meath, it's quite common for parents of a son or daughter to give them a site to build a house on, and then the son or daughter is perhaps going to get married, may be married already, and that's what I'm going to look at in this video: stage payment mortgages and self-build houses. Okay, the first thing to consider is site transfer. Obviously, in order to build a house, there's going to have to be a site transfer. Typically, the site will be transferred from parents to son or daughter. The son or daughter may not be married yet, and so the site is only going to be transferred into one name. So a key consideration here at the outset when the mortgage is granted is whether the bank is insisting on independent legal advice being given for the non-owning partner or mortgagee. In other words, if Johnny and Mary are basically building a house and Johnny and Mary are taking on the mortgage from the bank, but Johnny has been gifted a site from his parents, well then, as you can see, there's a slight difficulty insofar as the site is being transferred into the sole name of Johnny, but the mortgage is going to be taken on by both parties. So strictly speaking, the non-owning spouse or the non-owning girlfriend or partner at this stage, she is taking on a mortgage, but she has no legal interest in the site or in the property yet. So she may need independent legal advice about this. So when the bank is issuing their loan offer, their letter of offer in relation to the loan, they may insist that she get independent legal advice, that she knows that she's clear, she's taken on a mortgage, but she's not going to be on the registered ownership of the site or the house in the first instance. Maybe that'll be sorted out later on, certainly one would hope so, but that is something that she needs to be careful about. The stage payment situation then with the mortgage, basically what happens is the loan offer is accepted by the borrowers, they instruct the solicitor, and the solicitor then will basically liaise with the bank and draw down the money in 3 or 4 stages. This way the borrower, you as the borrower, are not paying interest on the whole whack from day one, but that you're only drawing down the money that you need for the various stages. The stages would be floor level, perhaps wall plate level, roof level, and final finish off. So you're probably looking at 4 stage payments. Before the solicitor can get the money from the bank though, the solicitor needs to put in a written request and a stage payment certificate. This stage payment certificate will be signed by a qualified architect or engineer who will have professional indemnity insurance in place, and that's something that I'd be looking for as well and need to send into the bank. I need the stage payment certificate from the architect or engineer, and I need a copy of his insurance and to ensure that it's up to date and in force. As I send in the stage payment certificates, the bank will release the money in stages into my bank account, and I just transfer it on then to the borrowers, my clients. When the house is finished then, when the house is finished, basically I gather up all of the title documents, and ultimately I'm looking for a certificate of compliance for the final stage payment from the, or rather the final stage payment certificate. That'll be coming from the architect or engineer. Once that's done then and everything is finalised, ultimately I'm looking for a certificate of compliance with building regulations and planning permission. I gather up all of the title documents, so that would be planning permission, certificates of compliance, the transfer to the, say, Johnny or whatever his name is, and ultimately then I send all of those in to the bank, and having registered the bank's mortgage obviously on the folio, the new folio that's open. So remember, at the outset there's a transfer of a site to, say, Johnny. I will register the mortgage on that site, and the bank will then be secured, their interest will be secured in respect of their borrowing. That's essentially what happens in relation to a stage payment mortgage. It's relatively straightforward. But if you are the borrower and if you are organising the building, etc., you do need to be careful that you have a proper overseeing person, either an engineer or an architect, supervising the build. You need to ensure that you have an architect or engineer who can issue these various stage payment certificates, and you need to ensure that you have an architect or engineer who will, in the heat of the hunt, issue certificates of compliance with planning permission and building regulations. That's essentially it. As I say, the non-owning spouse, if there is, or non-owning partner, non-owning borrower, he or she may need independent legal advice in respect of taking on a mortgage and not being on the legal ownership initially. Just to go back to that point, if parents are giving a site to Johnny, and Johnny is their son, there's going to be a gift situation there, and Johnny as a son is going to have a fair old capital acquisitions tax exemption. Okay, so he needn't be really worrying about a tax, gift tax on that. However, because his girlfriend, or if it's vice versa, has no direct relationship to those parents, then if they gift the site to her jointly, she may well have a gift tax, or indeed she will have a gift tax situation, a gift tax liability. So the essential, or the best thing may be for the parents just to gift the site to the son, for example, in the first instance, and then later when he and she get married, the borrowers get married, then he can simply just add her to the title deeds as ownership, or as a registered owner of the property at the Property Registration Authority, and there is no gift tax, and there's no stamp duty, and there's no tax implications. Hope you find this useful. I am a solicitor in Enfield in County Meath. If you like the video, if you find it useful, even mildly beneficial, give us a thumbs up down below, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends or somebody that might be interested in it. And also, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a lot of stuff on it there, and I'm building up a subscriber list. I'm going for 1,000 subscribers, so you might be happy to join up. Thanks.